Amyloids are a big deal. What are amyloids? These are indigestible proteins that are contributing to Alzheimer's, to cancer, to mental health, to cyst building, to viral reactivation, contributing to autoimmunity. It's a really, really big deal. In this country, 1 in 14 individuals have been diagnosed with an autoimmune condition. That's a pre-COVID number. So right now, you can probably double it and then some. And so why? Well, again, that's darn spike protein. I call it the disrupted mirror effect. So as I was writing the Wilditarian book about protein, sulfur, oxalate, and fat, I did not know that the spike protein would have the same mirror effect and what it does. So, and again, this is all in the clinical literature. Now we know that the spike protein has 7 vectors of amyloid genesis. So it helps create amyloids. And then amyloids have all these downstream impacts that I just noted. It's a big freaking deal. So if we are not wild and eating to our genetic blueprint in our current state of health, but clearly not wild, we are fire striking this amyloid burden, which can kill you because the amyloid fibrils, right, can lead to stroke and heart attack, pulmonary embolism. And then the amyloids make oxalates and the oxalates make amyloids and the iron makes amyloids. Again, it's this web. And somehow I've made this discovery, but that's why we are so pioneering in getting people to resolve the diabetes. We just had an MS resolution complete where the lesions on this person's spinal cord and brain disappeared. And this person who wasn't walking is now dancing and has got a 6-pack 6 months into our process. We've just had somebody who had hearing loss that was told it was permanent. And a couple of weeks on this process, they got 4 levels of hearing back because a viral reactivation, in this case, varicella, which also has been clinically linked to be fire started by the spike protein. Varicella has been known to manage hearing loss, to increase hearing loss, and the oxalates were creating tinnitus, also disrupting hearing. So we have like actual evidence, and this gentleman's doctor said you will never get your hearing back, right? So it's a big freaking deal.
So just to be clear, everyone, these amyloids are in that healthy white chicken that has no fat and full of protein that you think the bodybuilders are using, right? They're eating the broccoli and the chicken. And it's in the conventionally raised beef, turkey, pork. I get the question all the time, Teri, from people that live in the Midwest. I raise my own chickens. Are those okay?
I think they're definitely better. We need to know who their mama hen was, right? Because chickens we know the DNA is transferred generationally. So if it's heritage, it's much better, right? So if you can get a chicken that is super clean and you don't have a farm right next to you that is mass producing chickens, again, I haven't proven this, but chickens communicate by sonar because they're part of the aviary species. And so do the aviary communicate by sonar. That's how they fly in formation. And what we've learned is that certain living things can transfer DNA. There's been some research done on sunflowers where they come to look at each other and then they can transfer DNA. So I'm hypothesizing, why are chickens dirty birds, even if they're clean birds? Well, again, hypothetical, don't know, can't prove it, but that's my informed hypothesis. And also the generational DNA that could be passed down. Definitely better. But chicken is the dirtiest of birds because of its crowding. It's the most crowded. The chickens are raised to be killed, right? So they fatten them up and then they kill them. They fatten them up and then they kill them and they squish them. And so there's a lot of DNA that's being transferred more over. So it's a big deal. I can honestly say I have not had one piece of chicken in 7 years. Not one freaking chicken.
I haven't either. I am not for a vegan diet, but if that's the only thing at a restaurant, I will have a vegan meal for sure. So it definitely, and before I even knew you, chicken would always spark the E. coli in my system to just rev up, and I would get bloated and constipated. I'm like, I just had a piece of chicken. I even think it was organic. And every single time. And now I know why.
Yeah, it's been linked to E. coli. It's an omega-6 inflammatory fatty acid. It's just not a clean bird anymore. If you go to France and you do coq vin from a small provider in a farm where they don't have, I believe France has outlawed glyphosate too. So that would probably be okay. But I did recently go to France and I just couldn't bring myself to eat chicken.
Yeah. Well, look at it. It's white. It has no nutrition in it. I mean, why? It doesn't even taste as good as the wild game that we're talking about. But okay, so say we're not eating our chicken or the amyloid proteins, but the spike protein is creating amyloids in our body. So even if we're doing all the right things, how do we break down the amyloids in our body?
Well, there's lots of literature on this. SaraPeptase has been known. It's a proteolytic enzyme, SaraPeptase nanokinase, to kind of chew them up. We also, salt is very good. It's not clinically been researched, but I find that anything that is a biofilm breaker and emulsifier is very, very important. There's been some clinical literature on methylene blue and the spike protein. So if you're denaturing the spike protein by its very nature, you're going to denature some amyloids. So it's a really big deal. Enzymes. You've got to break down those protein structures, and don't feed the burden in the body with more amyloids. So it's a real deal. It's a real deal. So if we want to have a longevity play, and we're eating a lot of protein, which is now, strength training and protein is really hot right now. We've got to make sure we're eating to our genetic blueprint and our current state of health and minimizing that amyloid burden, because it's going to be so hard on the kidneys over time. And I just have this feeling that kidneys are going to be the big next organ to go, we're seeing already in my practice a lot of renal dysfunction in the blood work. But I mean, I'm concerned about dialysis down the road because there's so much protein that we're having to manage.
So is that from the dirty bird type protein, or is that just overall protein? Because we need the protein for muscle strength and for our brain and our hair and our nails. And like you're saying, you got to get in your grams, right? And I've even messaged you. A lot of people are doing creatine and protein shakes or just amino acids. What is your take on that? And is it, because the protein gurus are saying, oh, you can have more than 30 grams at a time. It's not hard on your kidneys. And then you've got the old school people that are saying, nope, you should not be having more than 30 to 40 grams. That is hard on your kidneys. Or does it depend on the person's kidney health?
Absolutely. So yes to all of the above. So we need to be bio-individual. One, if you're going to eat a lot of protein, make it wild, folks. It's so much easier to break down. So much easier. Today I had crab cakes that were left over from last night, and I took an antihistamine so I wouldn't have a histamine response. I had it with salad, right? And peppers, yellow peppers, which my body loves, and really high in vitamin C. Now I eat bison, I eat lamb. I'm very protein dominant, right? My body likes it. My body doesn't like a lot of beans. It just doesn't. It ferments it, and my glucose metabolism changes. But if I eat beef and I have a continuing glucose monitor, I'll go hypoglycemic because my body can't break it down.
Mm.
If I eat pork that's not wild, I'll go hypoglycemic. That's my telltale sign. So continuing glucose monitor is a really good way to manage the situation and get your renal function checked. Renal function will tell you if you're having elevated albumin, creatinine, if you have protein in your urine, if you're at the high end of protein on the scale, the range of protein, you're probably straining your kidneys. If you sweat and you see yellow or you have ammonia smell, that is the end product of uric acid metabolism gone haywire in undigested protein. The body speaks. If you start burping a lot after having a ton of protein, that means you didn't break it down. So you need digestive enzymes. You need hydrochloric acid for that protein digestion. You need glycine, which is super important to manage protein, which, by the way, glyphosate also hijacks. That's why we're more protein malabsorbed from another vector. So amino acids are great. My body loves whey protein. I don't have an issue with high L-glutamine, which whey contains, and I don't have candida and those things that whey can tend to exacerbate. But if you do, that's not great. My body does not like pumpkin seed protein, doesn't like it. It's too much hormone centric for me. Egg white protein, no, because it's got albumin and that's to renal function. But I really like the whey protein. So those work for me. I love my collagen peptides. Even though collagen tends to be a little histamine, my body really likes the marine collagen. And so you have to lean into what is it. My body though, however, does not like actual amino acids as a supplement. It makes my kidneys hurt. It's too acidic. But I'll take in amino acids through the whey protein and through the collagen peptides. So again, if you just had a big dump of amino acids and your lower back hurts, it probably wasn't because you overlifted. Could be your kidneys.
Interesting. I'm having some aha moments right now, Teri. I'm having a little lower back pain, but we've also talked about the fact that sometimes drinking coffee, because coffee is high histamine, can cause my lower back issues. So something to think about.